Hey, listen up, y'all. You know where I'm at already, and I'm always like this, actually. But it gives me great honor to bring to you this person. She's the visionary. She's the founder. She's our head coach of this call. She is the VP of Human Resources, a motivational speaker, a coach, a mentor, and absolutely one of my favorites right now, she's an author. But most importantly, that she absolutely loves. She loves being a wife and a mother. Help me welcome Jill Jordan Green to the call. Good morning, Jill.
Good morning, Michelle. Are you ready?
Woo! You know I am.
So good morning, and welcome to Momentum Monday. My name is Jill Green, the host of the call that's designed to wake you up, shake you up, and take you up to new levels in your life, your career, your business, and your dreams. Folks, here on Momentum Monday, we are reaching our dreams in 2016. And I'd like to introduce to you a few of our amazing co-hosts today. We have the Bishop Dickie Robbins, all the way from Chester, Pennsylvania. He's a pastor of Life in Christ Cathedral of Faith Ministries, the visionary of Emerge Leadership Conferences. Give it up and say good morning to Bishop Robbins. Good morning, Bishop.
Good morning, Jill Green, and all of my Momentum Monday movers and shakers.
Let's go. And we also have Miss Donna Roseman. She's partner in a major law firm, a writer, a keynote speaker, creator of the leadership development platform, RAIN, through which she hosts talks called RAIN Class and RAIN Tables, and coming soon is their app, RAIN. Give it up all the way from Fort Wayne, Indiana, my hometown, Dawn Roseman. Good morning, Dawn.
Hey, good morning, Jill. You know, I stand in my royalty. I own it today. I reign today. So do y'all. Let's go. Let's get it.
Let's reign. Absolutely. I love it. And next up again from Fort Wayne, Indiana, she is the founder of Girls Rock and Girls Rock Summer Camp and the amazing Girls Rock Youth Conference is coming up in just a few weeks here. All the way from Fort Wayne, Indiana, Miss Anita Washington. Good morning.
Good morning, Momentum Monday listeners. Remember this week to lead with love in all that you do. Boom.
Boom. Hashtag boom. Everybody go into the Facebook group and go ahead and hashtag I'm on the call. And last but not least, you just heard her voice. She always gets us pumped up. She's ready all the way from Newark, Delaware, Miss Michelle Washington. She's the founder of Michelle Marie Fashion Agency, visionary of Women and More. Miss Michelle Washington, good morning.
Good morning, Jill. I am always intentional and always executing everything that I plan to do. Woo!
I love it. And, folks, today we normally would have Miss Lynette Rogers, but she is not feeling well this morning. So let's make sure that we send a prayer out on her behalf. We know that she'll be joining us next week when she's refreshed and restored. And I just got a couple text messages that people are saying the call is full and they cannot get on. Whoa. Hopefully they'll continue to try. Yep, I see some people joining in now. So, all right, that's a great problem to have, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have an amazing discussion this morning. I'm pumped up and excited. But before we get started, if you would like to dialogue with us, go ahead and join our Momentum Monday Facebook group and make your comments or ask your questions, okay? Or you can do a hashtag in the Momentum Monday discussion group. You have to request permission because it is a private and closed group. So go ahead right now. If you're on the call and in the group, hashtag I am on the call. Hashtag I am on the call. If you have some friends who you know who are trying to get on, and this is going to happen now as we continue to grow, the call may get full, why don't you go ahead and three-way them in so they can join the call with us. And so as we get started, I want to give a special shout-out to Nashawn McDonald, CEO and founder of Your Heart's Desire. She had an amazing Vision in Action workshop in Huntsville, Alabama this weekend where the women showed up. They were hungry and looking for next-level experiences in their life, and I dare to say that that's exactly what happened. I was honored to be the keynote speaker for her event, and also she hosted my first official book signing for my new book. So we had tons of fun in Huntsville, Alabama, and we want to thank all of you guys who came out to support. And thanks to the Your Heart's Desire team and the volunteers that made that event absolutely amazing. Folks, let's get started. If you have been riding with us, you know we have had an amazing series called How to Have Your Best Year ever, well, I have a question for you. What's the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people? What's the difference between those who go and get it and those who don't? What's the difference between those who achieve and those who only dream? I'm going to tell you, it's the power of execution. To the callers on the line this morning, if you've ever had a goal, a dream, a desire to achieve something, or if you belong to a business and want to increase your chances of converting prospects to customers, if you're building a career and want to get promoted or get to the next level, or if you just want to see some change in your life, you have to execute. But what does it mean to execute? That means to carry it out and accomplishment. So, are you executing against your vision today? That is the question. So today's topic is all about the power of execution and getting things done. We're going to share with you 4 steps to the power of execution. And remember, our call is not just to get you excited and hyped. Our call is to put tools in place to help you mobilize your goal and achieve your dream. We have 4 steps today. 1, have a clear vision. 2, identify target activity. 3, identify your team. And 4, pull the trigger. Now, what does it mean to have a clear vision? Bishop, I'm going to come to you first, and we're going to define having a clear vision as your clear vision basically says what you want to achieve, and it explains the result, what the results look like. Okay? So for you who are on the line, if you're taking notes or if you're driving, you're saying, well, Jill, what does it really mean to have a clear vision? Your clear vision will say exactly what you want to achieve, and it will explain what the results look like. I'll give you an example, and Bishop, I'm going to ask you why it's important to have a clear vision, right? So I'll give an example of my clear vision. In the next 12 months, I will create a nationally recognized purpose-driven planning tool for women, men, families, business professionals, and entrepreneurs. That is my clear vision. Now, I know it's clear if it meets the SMART sniff test. Bishop, talk to me about that. Why should we have a clear vision? And tell the listeners what the sniff test, the SMART sniff test means.
Okay, Jill, I like to give analogies and pictures for people to understand what I'm saying. If anybody is a driver, you understand how important it is to have a working headlights and a clean windshield, because you can know where you want to go, but if you can't see how to get there because your vision is impaired, then you risk not only not getting to your goal, but suffering a loss if you have an accident. So a clear vision takes your destination and puts legs on it so that you can see how to get to that destination.
I love that. So it is critical to have the clear vision. Now, Bishop, some of us think that we have a clear vision because, we write things on sticky notes, we write it on our mirror and lipstick, we put it on our purpose board. But how can we make sure the vision is clear? Tell us about the SMART sniff test.
Well, the SMART sniff test, basically, your goals have got to be specific. You can say, I want to write something. That's not very specific. But I want to write a self-help book for the purpose of assisting people who want to improve their life. That's pretty specific. So it needs to be specific. It needs to be measurable. If you have a goal, and how can you measure your progress as you're pursuing the fulfillment of that goal? If it's not measurable, then it may happen someday, but then it might not. Is it achievable? Is it achievable? Is it something that is within the realm of a human possibility? Is it something that you have the skill set or the team to help you bring it to pass? Is it realistic? We can say, I want to write a book by tomorrow. Well, I'm not sure how realistic that is. So the goal has to be specific. It has to be measurable. It has to be achievable. It has to be realistic. And then that last one, it has to be timely. You have to set a deadline, because if you leave it open-ended, you usually will not sense an urgency to get it completed.
That's right, Bishop. That is excellent, excellent, excellent. And that's important. So we're talking about the power of execution this morning, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to tell you, the folks on this call this morning, our co-hosts, they are executing every single day against their vision. And we get questions all the time. How are you guys getting all this stuff done? We know that you guys all have, responsibilities and, your husbands and wives and dads and moms. And how are you getting all this done? We're executing. And the first step is having a clear vision, okay? And what does it mean? Bishop talked about it, having a SMART vision, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Dawn, talk to me a little bit about your vision. We all have something that we're running for, and I know we've shared before, but we have some brand new callers on the call this morning. So talk to me a little bit about what does your clear vision look like?
Yeah, I've said before, my theme for this year, for my life, is RAIN. We call it a leadership platform, but it's so much more than that for me and what God has shown me. And so, this year, for me, in the next 12 months, this RAIN platform that God has given me will be anchored. And it will be anchored by the release of my first book. It's entitled Superheroes Anonymous, and then at least 2 established regularly functioning RAIN tables. I'm working on the curriculum right now, and then the release, certainly we've been talking about before, my Raindrop app. So that's a lot in 12 months, but it needs to be anchored so that it can continue, so I can go where I want to go with this, what I've been shown this platform is supposed to be. And so for me, that's my vision. I want to just real quick, something that Bishop said. I think, in terms of the sniff test, for me, that's, I think what he just defined is critical. I think God gave us the first sniff test in Habakkuk 2:2 when he said, write the vision and make it plain. In the Message Bible, it says, write the vision and engrave it so plainly upon tablets that everyone who passes may be able to read it easily and quickly as he hastens by. That, for me, has been critical in writing it down so I can pick it up, so others who I empower can pick it up and clearly see what I'm trying to do. So I've written this down. This is what I'm going for in these next 12 months, and I'm going to get it.
I love that. Write the vision and make it plain. Make it so plain that others can pick it up, and that's exactly what we're talking about today, Dawn. I love that. Folks, do you want to get it done? Are you tired of dreaming about it? Don't you want to achieve it? First step to execution is you have to have a clear vision that meets the SMART sniff test. I love it. Thank you for sharing, Bishop Dawn. Now, the second thing to bring about execution is identifying your targeted activity. Now, this is where I think a lot of us fall down, Dawn, because we get to the point where we say, I'm going to use the book since you brought the book, I want to write a book by the end of the year about young girls and self-esteem, right? That is a specific goal, right? It's specific. Right. I can measure that. It's achievable, realistic, timely, et cetera, right? But now I need to identify the targeted activity. And what is that? Specific action steps that drive toward your vision. Now, Dawn, you can be busy or you can have targeted activity. Tell the callers what the difference is.
Well, busy is just that. You're not really going anywhere, man. You could be busy sitting in a rocking chair. You ain't moving. You're not doing anything. You can be in, it's like, if I'm sitting at my desk, if I take the stuff on the right side and move it to the left side, there's no productivity. The ball has not gone forward. I'm busy, though. I could do that all day. But being focused, having targeted activity is saying, you know what I just said. So use me for an example. I just said to you, I'm going to anchor this RAIN platform, right? So I'm going to write a book. I'm writing my book. Well, I said that for years, and I was being busy, right? I was real busy. I'm real serious right now. So I printed out calendars, blank calendars, and I created a writing schedule for me, and I shared it with my husband, and I'm like, look, it's on the wall, so I protect the time. So like today is a writing day for me. So at some point in these 24 hours, the 1,440 minutes I got in this day, some of them are going to be spent working on that project and specifically writing. And I have that schedule mapped out where some days are research, some days are these sorts of things to continue to move the ball with the goal of having chapter 1 finished by the end of the month, with the goal of having the table of contents finished. I've got goals for my illustrator, all those sorts of things that I had to sit down and on purpose put on paper so that, again, I'm not just stirring up dust, being busy, that I'm actually moving the ball. I love sports. Football is a game of inches. Always for me about moving the chains. It doesn't always have to be these huge things, but something every day that moves you toward that thing you said you want to do. That's, to me, targeted activity.
Dawn, that is excellent. You hit the ball out of the park on that one. Folks, I hope you are paying attention because she just broke down how she's going to accomplish the vision that she's laid out for herself for the next 12 months, right? To execute, first you've got to have a clear vision, but then you need specific activities. And she didn't only say, now watch this, she didn't only say, I have a calendar. We all got about 3 calendars, right? She said, on the calendar, I have a writing day, which is a specific target activity that would drive the dream and the vision. But then she broke it down after that. Not only does she have a writing day, she assigns that writing day and says, on this writing day, I'm going to have research. On this writing day, my table of contents will be done. On this writing day, chapter 1 will be finished. Folks, we're talking about execution. We're talking about getting it done. We're talking about identifying targeted activity, not being busy. Because I'm telling you, I can fill up my day being busy, and I can say, ooh, I'm exhausted because I've been busy. But if your busyness is not driving the vision, you are just wasting time. Danita Washington, oh my goodness, I'm so excited this morning. We're talking about the power of execution, which is incredible when it comes to your vision and your dreams. Danita, I want you to give me some examples of some targeted activity that you're involved in resolving your vision.
Okay, well, part of my targeted activity right now is leading with love, and me just really focusing on health and fitness for myself. And so my targeted activity is that I meet twice a week with a personal trainer. I'm actually logging my intake of food at this point, and drinking water. And so for my personal lead with love and targeted activity, those are the things that I'm doing. One of the things I'm learning with health and fitness is that there's so much out there that people are doing. You can get overwhelmed and caught up on other people's goals and their agendas. Well, I've learned to make silent moves with this. It is my journey. It took me years to get here. It's going to take me time to get back and get to a better place. But I think distractions sometimes come when you try to take on other people's purposes and different things that they're doing. So I have people who will try to sell me tea, who will try to get me on a different program. And all of those programs work. That's fine. But one of the things I'm learning about targeted activity, you have to know your vision and what is perfect for you right now. And so I don't play. I don't play no games about where I'm going. And so one of the things my trainer has really, really put into push with me is stay on your plan. Don't worry about anybody else's. And that there is no plan B for this. Let's just do the plan A that we have, and we'll make adjustments as needed. The second thing in my target activity that I'm doing is for Girls Rock. I'm very specific that this year I want to help remove some hurts, some habits, and some hang-ups of women and young women. And so we have 3 conferences, 2 conferences scheduled this year, and I'm really going to be specific in what I'm going to do with action plans and really creating frameworks for those conferences. We have meeting times already set up with community leaders and getting speakers of different cultures to represent. That was a big thing for me with the conferences this year, that this is not just an urban issue. This is an all-encompassing issue of women. And so some of the activity we have, we meet via satellite and cyber. We can't always get together, Jill and me. And so part of the planning team, and one of the things I did as a targeted activity was pick up one of the things you taught me. Hey, meet via phone and via cyber. So that's one of the things we did. And just having a planning day once a week. I'm a lot like Dawn. I'm very specific on the conferences that we have set up, that 2 days a week. One is for the makeover and one is for Girls Rock. So that's what I got going on.
Love it. Danita, that is awesome. Folks, if you're just joining us, you're here on Momentum Mondays, where your Mondays will never be the same. We're talking about getting it done. We're talking about going from just dreaming, and we're talking about achieving. How do you do that? The power of execution. The first step is you have to have a clear vision. That clear vision says exactly what you want to achieve and what it looks like when you're finished. The second thing is you have to have targeted activity. And Danita and Dawn did an amazing job breaking down their specific targeted activities. Danita, I love what you talked about, and you gave us 2 things, right? You have a personal vision for yourself and for your health, and you talked about water, right? People think that's so simple. Guess what? It's critical to the vision that she has for her personal health and her personal life. So she's saying specifically, I need to increase my water, right? She has a specific working out regimen that she has committed herself to. That's a targeted activity. But watch this. She says she has to focus and stay in her own lane. I love that, Danita, because you're right. Because you can start running toward your vision and doing your target activity, and it might look, your goal might look similar to someone else's. And so then you get off your track and start running with them in their lane. That's not what you're supposed to do. I love that, Danita. You're saying stay focused and run your own race. And then you talked about your the vision for the young women that you know God has called you to serve. And you talked about the 2 conferences. Her hosting these conferences, that is targeted activity that is going to drive her vision of empowering women and healing young women come true. So, Danita, thank you for that. I love it. It was very specific, very strategic. That's exactly what you need to have in place to have your dreams and your vision manifest. I love this, folks. That's step 1 and 2. And guess what? We're almost out of time. My goodness. All right. 1, have a clear vision. 2, identify target activity. And we're going to hit this last one, and this may be the last one we can do for this morning. And identify the team. Now, this is critical. How do you execute to get that vision to manifest itself, right? Vision, target activity, but identifying the team. Now, Bishop, I'm coming to you, and Michelle, I need you to be ready, because we spent a lot of time talking about the core circle and the people in your life, and that's critical. However, Bishop, just because somebody's in your circle doesn't necessarily mean they're on the team. Am I right, Bishop?
You're absolutely right. We may be aiming for a dream team and end up with a nightmare fellowship if we put the wrong people from our circle on our team. Just because you get along with people in social settings does not mean that they have embraced. It does not mean they have embraced the vision or have a skill set to be a part of the team. And we talked about, depending on what the activity is, you may need multiple teams. Don't try to force a square peg into a round hole just for the sake of sparing feelings, because ultimately you'll pay the tax at the end of the process when you have not succeeded.
Absolutely. And I want to, Michelle, I'm coming to you right now, and I want to talk about this because, you know, your circle, which are the people in your life, have a role in your life, and that's really powerful. However, you know, just because they're in your life and they support you and they love you, it doesn't mean they're on the team for the dream, for that dream. Michelle, so give me some examples of this particular principle.
Absolutely. Actually, this has been a learning experience for me for the last month. Sometimes I have been getting frustrated with people that I was placing on the team that should have just been placed in my circle. And it's so good that you have given us the definition of the 2, because sometimes the people in your circle are there just to support you from a place of support, of prayer, or of just being there to, you know, for you to depend on, that can encourage you, versus the people on your team. They're going to execute the plan and the purpose for that particular project, for your vision. And what happens is sometimes we look from outside of us, and I always say this, sometimes and oftentimes it's us, the person choosing the people, whether it's in our circle on our team, that causes the frustration, or it causes a bad situation because we're not placing them in the right position. And what happens is either we get disappointed, the person that's that have the team or the circle, or the people get frustrated with us, that cause a break off or a break up in a relationship because we have expectations for them that we know they can't execute. So sometimes and oftentimes we need to check ourselves and make sure that we're placing people in the right position so it'll be a win-win situation. It's not so much that we have to get rid of people per se. Sometimes we will, but not all the time. We just got to position them in the right place.
Absolutely. Well, we're talking about the power of execution, and one of the steps is identifying the proper team. And we had a great discussion about this, and I love what you just said, Michelle, because sometimes we just put people in the wrong place, right? And that creates confusion or frustration. But Dawn, share with me a little bit. We talked about some examples in regards to, you know, people being on the team and our expectations. Share with us what you shared with us last night. I thought that was really powerful.
Well, I think you have to, in identifying your team members, people who are going to help push forward, push out the goal that you have, that specific goal for the moment. We have to look at the right thing. I work really hard. I think we all have a personal brand. I mean, whether you know it or not, we all have a personal brand. I mean, you don't know it, ask somebody how they feel about you when they're in your presence. That will tell you how people respond to you. We all have a personal brand. And so I work very hard on mine. I'm very deliberate about mine. Not to be to deliver anything that's not real. I work very hard on making sure that people see the real me, but it's very important to me that there's consistency. Quite frankly, a brand is not a brand if it's not something that you can deliver on consistently. And so I think that we have to be careful that when we're looking at picking our team members, that we don't just pick on skill set or credentials or positioning in the community or likes on a Facebook page or whatever types of clothes they wear, whatever. We've got to really, really look deeply and make sure that person shares or understands, I should say, your brand, is willing to rock it, and or say it differently, will not do anything to harm it. I have experienced that recently, my own missteps, and I'm learning. I'm always learning, but I've, in my current career, and there's things I'm doing, but recently, had some missteps with a really important client that weren't mine, but I own it because they're my client, right? And the problem I have is not that there was a falling down in terms of the skill set or the actual work that was done. The problem is they didn't deliver or uphold themselves to the same standard that I do relative to client service. Our brands don't match. They're not rocking mine. I'm not sure. I don't know what theirs is, but it wasn't mine. And I didn't look at that point. They're incredibly skilled. And so I have to step back. I'm like, okay, I got to make some adjustments. But going forward, I'm learning. I got to get better about making sure that that's the first thing I ask. Not. And sometimes you can't. There's not a specific question. You got to watch them. And so I just want to it's really, really critical to make sure that we're picking people for our team who really get what we're trying to do, and will discharge that in the same way that you would. When people encounter your team, they should feel like they encountered you. And that's so right. To me, you got to make some decisions up front about who those people are.
I love that. And guess what? Your team might be different for each part of your vision or each goal exactly. that you have in front of you.
Exactly.
Right? And I think that that's something that we have to just, be able to say. I think that we want to use the same group of people for everything. Bishop, I'd like for you to share as we wrap up because we're running out of time here, but I would like for you to share your experience recently. You attended the Leaders Conference with Bishop T.D. Jakes, and you talked a little bit about his team concept.
Yes. Everybody who knows Bishop Jakes knows that he has multiple major projects going on every year. He does MegaFest. He does Woman Thou Art Loose. He does Pisgah. I mean, he has mentoring for young pastors and order. He has so many projects going on. And one of the things he said was that if you have the right team, you can accomplish major events. For instance, MegaFest. He says he can pull off MegaFest with a team of 15 people. Now, that doesn't include volunteers. That includes the paid staff. But but the MegaFest is so. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of people turning out for the MegaFest. And how do you manage all those logistics with 15 people? Well, those 15 people understand the vision. They properly regard the brand. They are diligent, effective, and consistent. And they can not only receive instruction, but they can give those instructions clearly to the support team or the volunteers. So with 15 people, Bishop Jakes can run MegaFest. So that means any project that we have, we can have a minimal staff as long as that staff is qualified and capable to embrace the vision, honor the brand, and be consistent in their delivery.
I think that's powerful. I love that. We're talking about the power of execution and identifying the proper team. And so there's some things, some notes that I jotted down as I listened to our co-host. And when you identify your team, first of all, they should have the will, right? Be willing to serve and the skill. But not just the skill, as Dawn pointed out. They also need to be able to align themselves with your brand or with your focus or with your values. They should represent you. But skill is important, right? Because like Bishop just said, Bishop T.D. Jakes, he has a skilled group of 15 people to pull off MegaFest along with some volunteers. One thing that Danita has shared, which I thought was powerful, they also need to have a servant's heart. So every person on your team has a specific role to play, but it's got to be the right one. They got to be in the right seat. We are flat out of time. We're right at 8 o'clock, and we're just getting started on this amazing discussion about the power of execution. If you're in the Facebook group, I want you to go ahead and hashtag power of execution. And there are 4 steps. 1, you have to have a clear vision. 2, identify your target activity. 3, and identify your team. And next week we're going to talk about pull the trigger. I'd also love for you to post in the Facebook group some examples of your targeted activity that you are planning, not for this week, but for today. Pull the trigger on something today. What are you going to do? Give me one example of your target activity today, and we'd love to hear from you. So we're going to go ahead and open up the lines. And, folks, I want to hear you loud and proud. I want you to say the power of execution.
The power of execution.
The power of execution.
Power of
execution.
The power of
execution. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. Woo!
Power of execution.
Power of execution. See you next time on Momentum Monday. Your Mondays will never, ever be the same.
Beautiful.
Have a great day, everybody.